Good morning, viewers at home. Welcome to the program, SuperDawn. I am Vera Osopo with you on this Monday morning edition of the program. I hope you did enjoy your weekend. For me, it was a busy weekend, but thank God all went well and I'm alive. We are all alive to witness this beautiful Monday morning. It's going to be interesting, honestly, I tell you, because we have very interesting topics for us, and also we have sports. Today on this show, we want to look at hate speech. Will I rather say hate speeches? We're going to be doing that with you. I know that the bill has passed the first reading at the Senate, and we want to look at it. Someone brought it, an APC guy in Niger State APC Senate, brought that up, and we're looking at it in Nigeria. I know the Nigerians have a way of talking about when it comes to hate speech. I want you to, today it's the other way around, educate me while I give you some points on what you think is hate speech and how you feel about the bill that has passed the first reading. I want you to do that. So the phone line when it comes to that session will be open for us to make our contributions. We must begin to know some things and learn some things and know the importance of some things. Away from the hate speech, we want to look at analyzing our educational sector in Nigeria. If you look at the budget, it's just 7% of what is in the budget that is given to the educational sector. So we want to look at it this morning. Are we improving? Do we have enough infrastructure? Are we doing the right things when it comes to education? We all know that education is the bedrock of any society. And so we want to look at our educational sector. When we say education, what comes to people's mind? Are we ready to embrace better education in Nigeria? What are we looking at? These are all loads of things we will be doing this morning on the program. And I'm not going to be doing that alone. Anthony and I will do that. And of course, don't forget that this Monday morning, we're going to look through the papers. So we go on this break, and when we come back, we will start with the newspaper. And I'm not doing it alone. I told you earlier, Anthony will be here with me. Let's go on a break, and we'll be right back.
SuperDawn, your daily live current affairs program, where topical issues that border on politics, economy, sport, and sizzling national issues are analyzed, now holds every Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Superscreen television. Let your voice be heard. Join us.
Bad breath, also known as halitosis or phthisis, affects an estimated 25% of people globally. There are a number of potential causes of halitosis, but the vast majority come down to oral hygiene. Halitosis can cause significant worry, embarrassment, and anxiety, but generally it is relatively easy to remedy. The most common cause of halitosis is bad oral hygiene. If particles of food are left in the mouth, they break down by bacteria producing sulfur compounds, and there are a number of common causes of bad breath, which include smoking, tooth decay, and alcohol consumption. Bad breath in children is often due to a trapped item in the nasal cavity. Bad breath is a common problem that can cause significant psychological distress. There are a number of potential causes and treatments of halitosis, which is the third most common reason that people seek dental care after tooth decay and gum disease. The specific odor of breath varies depending on the cause of the problem. It is best to ask a close friend or relative to gauge your mouth odor, as it is very difficult to access it yourself. If no one is at hand, one way of checking the odor is to lick your wrist, leave it to dry, and then smell it. If it smells bad, there is a strong chance your breath also smells bad. Some individuals are concerned about their breath even though they may have little or no mouth odor. This condition is called halitophobia and can lead to obsessive mouth cleansing behavior. Major potential causes of bad breath include tobacco products causing their own types of mouth odor, breakdown of food particles stuck in the teeth. Some foods such as onions and garlic can also cause bad breath after they are digested. Their breakdown products are carried in the blood to the lungs where they can affect the breath. Dry mouth is another cause, as saliva naturally cleans the mouth. If the mouth is naturally dry, but due to a specific disease such as xerostomia, odors can build up. Dental hygiene, which requires brushing and flossing, ensure the removal of small particles of food that can build up and slowly break down, producing odor. A form of bacteria called plague builds up if brushing is not regular. This plague can irritate the gums and cause pockets to build up between the teeth and gums called periodontitis. Crash diets, which is fasting and low carbohydrate eating programs, can produce halitosis. This is due to the breakdown of fats producing chemicals called ketones. These ketones have a stronger aroma. Certain drug medications can also reduce saliva and therefore increase mouth odor. Other drugs can produce odors as they break down and release chemicals in the breath, such as nitrates used to treat angina, some chemotherapy chemicals, and some tranquilizers such as phenothiazines. Individuals who take vitamin supplements in large doses can also be prone to bad breath. Mouth, nose, and throat condition effects sometimes produce small bacteria covered stones that form on the tonsils at the back of the throat and produce a mouth odor. Also, infections or inflammations in the nose, throat, or sinuses can cause halitosis, which is bad breath, especially in children. It can be caused if they have a foreign body lodged in their nasal cavity. Some cancers, liver failures, and other metabolic diseases can cause halitosis due to specific mixes of chemicals that they produce. Gastroesophageal reflux disease can cause bad breath.
Welcome back. Well, we have Anthony here. Anthony, good morning to you.
Yeah, good morning, Vera. How are you this morning?
Beautiful, beautiful.
Well,
How was your weekend?
Yeah, it was splendid. It was splendid.
You have no option. Our work. Working.
That's what it is.
A media person. No weekend for us. Anyway, it's the newspaper review segment. And I want to start with the Nation newspaper this morning. And the Nation says, Army draws battle line against killer headsman. And I'll take the story. The Army has warned killers to stop their evil act or face decisive action by troops. It also warns that commanders who fail to act decisively would face court-martial. Killings have persisted in Taraba, Benue, and Adamawa State despite the ongoing Operation Cat Race. There's still killings here and there, Anthony?
Yeah, there's still killings, and I think it has been high time. It's overdue that the military, the army stepped in. And the line which they have just drawn is what they should have done a very long time ago. And yes, it's a very good thing, and it should stop some, at least to a percentage, these forms of killings, because we are very tired of it.
Okay, we also have this one. It says, 3 killed in Cross River clash. The police yesterday confirmed the death of 3 persons in a communal clash in Cross River. But sources claim that about 10 persons died in the clash between Mwabingbang and Bibo in Boki local government area of the Cross River State at the weekend. A source from the area told the Nation yesterday that the cause of the quarrel was land ownership. Why should you fight over land?
No, it's Africans, Nigerians. Well, we know we are not new to this. They fight over lands, and it's over properties, mortgages, and it goes as far as killings. So we really have to be careful out there. Be careful about when you're fighting for land. But I think there are documents at this age. There are documents. There are you know, the judiciary and the rest of them. So we should not go into all of that. And if it's a landed property where you inherit, I think it's only best that documents are involved in it. Yeah. You don't just share your land and, you know, just put your bill out there. You write your will and say, yes, so my Suzu's son has his portion. My one has that portion. I think the documents should, papers, you should put it in the papers, and that should solve the whole situation.
I think if you get your landed property, just make sure you have the CFO.
That's it.
Because if you have your certificates of ownership, there will not be much trouble there.
That's it.
Okay, we have this. It says here, Senate, 13.5 million monthly running cost, no big deal. Says the Senate yesterday confirmed that each senator collects about 13.5 monthly as running cost in addition to the 750,000 monthly salary allowances. The lead on the pay by the federal lawmakers was opened last week by Senator Shehu Sani, Kaduna Central, in an interview published by the News Online. Senate spokesman Aliu Sabi Abdullahi said the figures given by Sani are contained in various line items and expenditure heads of the budget of the National Assembly, which had been made public. And so they are saying there's no big deal. Well, it's just perfect to have 13.5 million monthly.
Lots of Nigerians out there, especially those that are living on the minimum wage, which is not even enough, will disagree to that. But it's not on us anyway. Let's just leave it to the masses. But yes, I think it's really good that we sort of look at the people before, you know, we give allocations and all.
Okay, we have this one. 6 die in Lekki at Bongbong Road crashes. 6 persons, including a woman, a downfall driver, and his conductor were killed in 2 road clashes in Lagos at the weekend. 5 of them were killed yesterday when a driver believed to be drunk rammed into an 18-seater commercial vehicle at the first Lekki toll gate. 14 were injured. I think we should be careful, you know, in driving. I was telling our colleagues this morning how someone took me and I was just screaming. You know, the way people drive at times, we have to be careful.
You know, right down the paper, you mentioned something about somebody being drunk. And that should be like the bone of contention. You don't drink and drive. I mean, we've been saying this, it's been everywhere, the papers, the media have been promoting this. You don't drink and drive. And even if you drink and, you know, come on, by now we should understand that fact. You know, apart from, you can never be too careful when you are drunk. You can't just be too careful because at that time, you're not yourself. People out there, please do not drink and drive. And even if you think you're the expert, you don't need to speed. Just drive safely. There's a limit to your speed, and there are people out there.
Okay, we have this one. Why Nigerians must be patient with road contractors by Fashola. The Minister of Power, Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, had called on Nigerians to be patient with contractors handling federal road projects over inconveniences caused by the ongoing project. Fashola spoke in Kano yesterday while he was inspecting the federal government road project in Kano State. That we should all be careful, patient with what is going on.
True. We should be patient, though. One of the programs of Super I, we had this, we went for reports and we covered people's view on the Lagos State's projects. And Nigerians, citizens of Lagos, occupants of Lagos are beginning to be very impatient, saying these things are causing hold-ups, traffics, these things are slowing down our businesses. But I guess it's only right that the minister says be patient. And yes, I think that's only viable. We just have to be patient, and we hope that the minister, the government, will do a good job.
Well, I think Nigerians are patient people, but we just pray that the work is done speedily, you know. If you say we should be patient, we are patient people. But you see, these road contractors sometimes just abandon what they're supposed to do, and something that is supposed to last for 2 months. You know, when you're constructing a road, there is a billboard you see, the month it will expire, when it starts, who is handling what. You see by the roadside.
The plan itself.
You know, they usually put this, and you'll be shocked. It's amazing where they're supposed to complete a road for, say, 6 months, and it's taking 2 years.
2 years.
How patient will Nigerians be? But all the same, let's be patient. At least they're doing it for us. So let's just have patience. But
that's it.
Contractors, please be fast about it.
Up your game.
Okay, we have this one. Lassa fever treatment is free, says federal government. The federal government has said the treatment of Lassa fever is free. The National Center for Disease Control, in a statement by Chief Executive Officer Dr. Chikwe, faulted a report linking Lassa fever mortality rate to high cost of treatment. That's not it. It's not because the treatment is expensive. No, the treatment is actually free. So if you feel a symptom, visit your doctor. We have this from Borota. Yes, you wanted to say something.
Well, just like what you said, I really have to commend the government. Yes, it's a free thing. For once, it's free. That's a very good development.
Okay, this one says, Falana seeks stoppage of jumbo salaries for legislators. Lagos State Femi Falana has urged President Muhammadu Buhari to stop the jumbo salaries and allowances of the federal legislators. Falana, in a statement yesterday, according to Senator Shehu, the running cost of each senator is 13.1 million, in addition to the consolidated salary of 750,000 per month. Apart from the monthly package of 13.8 million, each senator is given the opportunity to execute constituencies projects to the tune of 200 million per annum. However, the disclosure made by Senator Sani does not cover the allowances for cars, housing, wardrobe, furniture, etc., running to several millions of naira proof for each senator. So, Falana is saying, this is just too much. Stop the jumbo salary. Finally, from this paper, I'll take this one. Naysayers distorting truth about Nigeria, says Minister. The Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, has said naysayers are spending huge amounts of money to distort the situation in Nigeria. The minister spoke at the mini town hall meeting, which he organized for members of staff of Nigerian Embassy in Berlin, Germany, and a cross-section of Nigeria residing in the European country. He's saying people spend a lot of money. Naysayers, you are distorting, you're disrupting, you're disgracing, you're debasing Nigeria. So stop doing all that. Use better word for Nigeria. Don't use your money, don't waste your money, and all of that. Well, that's what I can take for the nation. You have some stories in the Vanguard.
Yes, in the Vanguard newspaper. We have 350 Niger Delta ex-militants to earn salaries soon. the federal government. That's on page 12 of the Vanguard's newspaper. Over 350 former Niger Delta militants that embraced the amnesty program of the federal government and employed after their training will start receiving salaries immediately the 2018 appropriation is passed. Special advisor to President Muhammadu Buhari and coordinator of the Presidential Amnesty Program, Paul Burrow, has said. Burrow also said some of the former militants sent for training abroad but refused to graduate will be on their own, as the government will not continue to take responsibility for their training when they have refused to graduate.
Okay.
Okay, so 350 Niger Delta ex-militants were trained by the federal government after they had received amnesty. And some of them that went out of the country to be trained, the federal government is saying, for the ones that did not graduate, you're on your own. But then you tend to look at it, come on. I mean, after you've been granted amnesty in Nigeria, and the federal government says you will be trained, and you'll be given salaries, you even get trained outside the country, something every Nigerian would die for. Okay, most Nigerian youths would die for. And you got trained outside the country. At the end of the day, you did not graduate. What do you have to say to that? I mean,
why would you graduate when you have an opportunity of being trained for free? You know what that means?
I mean, for some reason,
for free. Why would you graduate? It's a free offer.
And now the federal government is saying, listen, man, they are going to pay them after their training. They has offered them jobs, and that's, well, it's a good one on the federal government, but I also have to somehow employ on the government to find a program sort of for the youth, especially the graduates, the ones that are in Nigeria. Okay, Delta APC won't repeat 2015 mistake. Ameho. Former Nimasa DG false report of his conviction by court. Okay, let's take this other story that says, Buhari told us to stop encroaching on cattle routes, Fayose. That's on page 11 of the Vanguard's newspaper. Okay, here it says, Governor Ayodele Fayose of Ekiti State has said that President Muhammadu Buhari directed governors to ensure people do not block cattle routes in their states. This was as the Are Onakanfo of Yoruba land, Dr. Gani Adams, has called on members of the Odua People's Congress, OPC, to be vigilant and watchful against the illegal activities of the headsmen who attack and kill innocent people across the country. Fayose, while quoting the president, said, people are building houses to block cattle routes. Okay, so Fayose is saying he has actually blocked routes. Yeah, we've heard
that, what Fayose said. But looking at all of these things, we should just stop killing one another. I don't know. I'll pick another story later on this still headsmen, and I think we can actually decide to live as one.
We can actually decide, and
it's a decision.
We should decide to live as one. Okay, land use charge will lessen burden, CPA. The Centre for Public Accountability, CPA, has thrown its weight behind the Lagos State over its land use charge, saying it will lessen burden on the less privileged.
I don't know why. It wasn't that explanation. I don't know. It's incomplete.
It doesn't tally.
It's incomplete.
It doesn't tally. It doesn't tally.
If it's a good policy, if it's good, if the Lagos State government feels this is good, I think they need to do a lot of, they need to educate people on that. Sitting down here to say 400% is an ideal for me, no. But if the government feels this is how they want to generate funds, I think it's not the right time. I don't want to speak for, I'm speaking for myself right now, seated here. I don't think it's the right time because we've taken cameras. and it was treated over the weekend in our station, where people were angry hearing land use charge alone from Lagos State. Everywhere went somehow.
Everyone.
But so it's something I think, if the government feels this is an ideal, they should give us more reasons why it should be increased. I think it's high time. 400%, 400.
That's way
a bit too high.
Way too high.
For the economy right now, for people to be paying that much. Ha! Please, our dearest governor of Lagos State, you know we love you, but don't go this way. That's not the way to go right now. People are thinking on how to eat. Someone says, hey, are you the guest of the program, or you are the presenter of this, or the anchor of this program? Well, I go to market, I feel it, I rent houses, and so I know what I'm talking about here. But I know the governor has a listening ears, and he has said, come, let's reason together. That's the Bible. Come, let's talk. And I think we're going to do a lot of talking, and we'll let you know more on that. We have to end this segment. I'll quickly rush this punch. And it says, consumer to pay more for cigarettes, alcohol from June 4th. The 4th of June. Consumers of cigarettes, alcohol, hear me and hear me well. You're going to be paying from your nose. I'm laughing because I know some people right now say, what? That's the what. You need to go and read. As federal government raises exercise duties, government must be careful about taxes on productive sector. That came from the LCCI. We also have in the Punch, CBN stress test relief, weak capital signs in banks. Here in the papers, Plateau attacks. Police arrest headsman with AK-47 rifle, says 16 killed. Sagae Falano CD floors Senate over 13.5 million allowance. Still in the Punch, it says the U.S. Secretary of State, Tilia Singh, visit Nigeria today. And finally here, I think I need to take one or two stories. Man adopts pupil 3 after tricking brother with snack. We also have Nigeria losing revenue to IOCs over delay PSC review. Finally here from the Punch, the Android phone lovers, features to note when choosing a new Android phone. I don't know anything about all of this kind of technology, but I'm going to get hold of the Punch to see what features I must note when I want to get one. So you can do so. Well, that's the end of this segment. We'll go on this break, and when we come back, SuperDawn will continue. Please stay with us.
SuperDawn, your daily live current affairs program where topical issues that border on politics, economy, sport, and sizzling national issues are analyzed, now holds every Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Superscreen television. Let your voice be heard. Join us.
Bad breath, also known as halitosis or fetoris, affects an estimated 25% of people globally. There are a number of potential causes of halitosis, but the vast majority come down to oral hygiene. Halitosis can cause significant worry, embarrassment, and anxiety, but generally it is relatively easy to remedy. The most common cause of halitosis is bad oral hygiene. If particles of food are left in the mouth, they break down by bacteria producing sulfur compounds, and there are a number of common causes of bad breath, which include smoking, tooth decay, and alcohol consumption. Bad breath in children is often due to a trapped item in the nasal cavity. Bad breath is a common problem that can cause significant psychological distress. There are a number of potential causes and treatments of halitosis, which is the third most common reason that people seek dental care after tooth decay and gum disease. The specific odor of breath varies depending on the cause of the problem. It is best to ask a close friend or relative to gauge your mouth odor, as it is very difficult to access it yourself. If no one is at hand, one way of checking the odor is to lick your wrist, leave it to dry, and then smell it. If it smells bad, there is a strong chance your breath also smells bad. Some individuals are concerned about their breath even though they may have little or no mouth odor. This condition is called halitophobia and can lead to obsessive mouth cleansing behavior. Major potential causes of bad breath include tobacco products causing their own types of mouth odor, breakdown of food particles stuck in the teeth. Some foods such as onions and garlic can also
Welcome back. Well, in this segment, we want to look at hate speech. It has passed the second reading, and we want to look at it really. And I want you to also to call during this segment to tell me what you understand. If you know that you can get what hate speech means, you can define it in your own way. We want to look at it because a bill prescribing death sentence like this need to be discussed. And discussing with us this morning is we have a guest that usually call on this show since a long time ago, 4 years now, and he's seated here as our guest this morning. He's always calling on the program. We've decided to invite him live today so that we can hear from him physically and directly. This is the first time I'm meeting John Okoyomo, and he's advocate for equity, justice, and fairness. Good morning to you.
Thank you. To meet you.
And good to see you live.
I'm here.
He's our regular caller, one of the regular
You have
callers.
been hearing me online. I'm here today, eye for an eye, teeth for tat.
Thank you very much for coming.
This is where we educate people, so take it easy. Yes, I want to look at this hate speech because anyone found guilty will go for hanging. You will be hanged if you found guilty, if it's been passed to law, and it has passed the first reading. But we want to look at it really. Is it necessary for people to use wrong choice of words?
First of all, let me say I thank Superscreen for the warm welcoming give it to me.
Okay.
You see, concerning the hate speeches, I'm sorry to cross-question any one of you. If any one of you can give me a little insight or two major language that we consider to be an hate speeches?
Yes, I think I should do that. Hate speech is when you incite someone against the government. Because if you use such words, just downgrading or debasing your government, that would not help the person. I'm talking of Nigerians, even in diaspora. So that is hate speech, using a very strong and inciting word against a government, a sitting government.
You see, here in Nigeria, in our nation here, you see, what we call hate speeches, a country that is a respecter of no law. You see, when everybody has no respect for the law, even from the top, the government, hate speeches originated from them. Hate speeches originated from the government, the officials, when they apply their politics.
How do you mean? Why do you say it started from them?
Because of the word they are using to themselves when they are in opposition, and when they are in government, fighting each other. You can see Nigeria is divided along ethnic line, tribal line. And you cannot rule out hate speeches in the mix of those kind of people when you are enemy of yourself in the country.
Should we continue like that? Should we be enemies of ourselves?
Who is ready?
Should we continue like that?
Who is ready to change?
Maybe I'm ready.
At no Nigeria you will ever confront this thing you are doing is wrong, that he will agree to say I'm sorry. You can come. You are a media. You see even just last week here, you can see in the National Assembly, you see one of the senator or the representative when they were talking of restructuring. You see when the senator rise up, you see what he was doing. A well-educated somebody. If you assess him now, he's a master degree holder, PhD. He was shouting, "Restructuring on my foot. To hell with restructuring." And the people who are advocating for restructuring, they are not commoners.
But is it now right that this, the senators and the people up there are using these hate speeches, to themselves?
That is what we are saying. At worst, they are the origin of the hate speeches. Whom are they setting the law for now?
Okay, so that's where we are trying to come in. They are trying to, should I say, the person that is advocating is trying to do away with this hate speech, just so it won't bring this ethnicity thing coming in, this inter-tribal war, inter-party war, and the rest of them. So, is this hate speech bill necessary? Because they are saying we are trying to curb the violence. This hate speech and the penalty, is it necessary?
You talk of the penalty or whatever you're saying about it. Is the person setting the penalty? Is he free from hate speeches? That is the bowl of contention. Whom are you setting it for now when the hate speeches, which is the problem now, originated from you? You are the advocate of hate speeches. From up there, when they divided themselves along the ethnic lines, then from the grassroots, everybody will pitch tent from his tribe.
Okay.
So it's not.
Okay,
are you saying that they are not supposed to pass the bill?
Nigerians,
since they are guilty of it. According to you,
they are not supposed, but they will pass the bill if they like, because they do and don't do. They do and don't do. And where they want to, if there is any penalty now, they will use their opposition to be a scapegoat.
Okay.
They will use their opposition as an scapegoat.
Okay, I want to tell you why they have said that we should stop it. And if you're found guilty, if you're using it and you don't stop, you will go by hanging. There's a death penalty. Looking at what they said, because of loads of cases of violence, ethnic trouble, clashes here and there, communal clashes here and there, the government says they've decided to look inwards and look at what is the cause, what is bringing about people quarreling amongst each other in the same community. And so they came out and realized that it's because the words people use, what people use. And someone was telling me, even as a media practitioner, they are also looking at us because we are the propaganda of peace we're supposed to be. And so looking at the hate speeches, the question now is, can one stop using words like that, especially in a country like Nigeria, where we grew up, it's our culture to just yap and say things without looking at the reprisal effect on people.
That is what I'm telling you.
Is it possible for us to stop it? And why can't we stop it?
Hate speeches is a daily use of our language in everywhere.
How do you mean?
You go out, you see people fighting, insult, everybody misbehave. Any word that comes out from Nigerian mouth in the public is of hatred.
Must we continue like that? Must we insult our leaders? Must we insult our president? Must we run them down? Are there no better ways to address issues?
Look, to better a country, you need a divine knowledge of men by God. But I don't see Nigeria having such people. Because from our foundation, Nigeria has been divided along ethnic line. And those who are still coming, you will see them coming on the television said, our forefather says this, our forefather says this. And all this that is wrong, they used to lay the foundation of Nigeria, and they are still stepping on it, upgrading it. And the children are taking it. If you enter in any bus now when there is closing time for school children, you go inside the bus, you see the little children, the school children. If you see Yoruba lapping Igbo, all those kind of things, children, they will lap themselves, they will use one person money to pay, and they will use the other money to buy something merriment for themselves.
Okay, there is a good and there's a bad side of everything.
Let me tell you, as it's going like that, you think you will be seeing the love in there. But what as you are going, when you hear what is coming out from those children's mouths,
so that's why I asked you.
You will hear the children. You will hear the children. This one will say, Yoruba no good, Yoruba is this, and Yoruba is that. The other one say, Igbo, no, like Igbo is like this, Igbo is like that.
That's why they are passing the bill of the hate speech to curb this. Yoruba is this, Yoruba is that.
Okay,
so
what is happening between those who are passing the bill?
Okay, yes.
You've not answered my question. I wanted you to answer the question.
Yeah.
Should we continue with this kind of method where we destroy ourselves with some kind of speeches?
Those who are in charge of the custody of Nigeria, who are the government, when they are not ready to change, we will continue.
No, but this bill actually says, yes, we can actually
if you pass bill, you yourself that pass the bill, who is the custodian of that law, you are not obeying it. How will it work?
No, it's not a law yet.
Because those people in position in power, is their power that control the grassroots, the public. Okay, the example you set there is what we set fear to the public. And whatever you're doing there is what the public will support. This person is from my place. This person is from my place.
So you are against the bill?
If I'm against it or I'm in support of the bill, it cannot work.
Okay.
Like it cannot work in what sense? Like
it cannot work because how many laws do you have in this country? Is anyone working?
Okay, John, I'm going to hold you on there. There's a caller here. Hello, good morning to you.
Nice, innocent. A regular
we
caller.
Can't hear you.
Everybody in the studio. I just want to chip in some words.
Go ahead.
That law of hanging
Okay.
Because there's no foundation for it, for bringing people out of that stage. So there must be a foundation. And then when people are growing from that foundation, naturally those things will stop. America is a state we can look at. There was a time in America that people don't see eye to eye. When I feel I hate you, I shoot you down. But it is not happening today in America. How? It created a foundation. And that foundation is making people to inculcate morals that are good for everybody. Creating good atmosphere of relationship for everybody. So these are the foundations that should be in place. Then you can now put a law such as that. They didn't put law on then somebody found in corruption, they had them. They want to put it on hate speech. So I want us to know that, first of all, life is spiritual, whether you like it or not. So because life is spiritual, we need foundation of teaching, of morals, to be able to stand out.
How do we get that? How do we start that?
Yes, ma'am. Okay, good. Now, they say any country that neglects the history is neglecting progress. So history tells a lot. Go back to history, see the good part, see the bad part, and begin to work on the good part. That is how it is.
Okay, thank you so much for calling. Yes. Thank you so much. He said there must be a foundation. And I think that I agree with him. There must be a foundation. What kind of foundation do you think we should begin to build? And from what age? And from what stage?
From what era?
And that is what I'm telling you. Who is going to lay the foundation?
The government, of course.
The government? Who are they? Are they not Nigeria that caused the problem? They are the one that caused the problem.
Why are you accusing them?
Common man cannot cause a problem of a country. It's what emanates from the top that we envelop the grassroots.
So we are trying to look at the way forward.
All those things are just let me say, it's mere say. It's watershed. Yes.
So what's the problem now? Is it
if even when the caller said by hanging is severe, it's a severe penalty. Okay, a severe where is it going to start from? From who?
That's what we are saying now.
The
What's
common
the
man on the street, or the people who are the advocate of hate speech?
Anyone that
anybody
indulges in it, anyone that participates, anyone that uses the wrong choice of word. I mean, hate speech.
Anybody now.
If you use it, you are guilty.
Anybody now that they will be able to pick up that on hate speech, then now it will result on tribal interest. They will say, or they will draw it along the political line. Say, because it's an opposition. Because it's this. And they will say, because it's an Igbo man. The other one did not say it, he says so thing. You will see a defendant. They will say, because it's a Yoruba man. They will say, because it's a Northerner. That is why those people are shouting this and that.
Okay, so now
we don't have one common interest that moves a nation forward.
Let me ask this question: Is the hate speech the problem, or the penalty that is the problem? Because definitely the hate speech, the intention of the hate speech is to control ethnicity, violence, tribal violence, and the rest of them. So the politicians could not use this as a means to fight against their opposition, which is a good intention if it asks me. But the question now is, it's a
good means.
It's an intent.
Let me get sorry about that. Let me get this caller. Hello, good morning to you.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Go ahead. Yes.
In Nigeria.
I'm trying to.
This is because the big government by ungodly leaders. Instead of passing get sentenced to hate, when the hate one pass get sentenced to corruption and people stealing public funds, it's almost
I think you're a bit fast. You're a bit too fast. I'm trying to get to hear what... Maybe you need to turn down the volume of your TV set so we can hear you.
Everybody has their right to express their feelings. Hello?
Hello? Go ahead. We're trying to understand what he's saying, but...
No, he's saying everybody has a right to express, freedom of expression. Like that's the ball.
Yeah, we all have rights, freedom of expression, but there are limits. That's what the government is saying right now. There are limits. Now the question now, because we must wrap up this, should we look at, I want you to look at what are the causes of these hate speeches. So what do you think causes it? How can we curb it?
Like what the caller is saying now, that it's a freedom of expression. Freedom of expression and a democracy is not good in this part of the world. We need a tyranny with sincere acts to discipline whoever that it is. Yes.
Okay. So how do you think we can stop it? That's it. How do we stop it?
In the ways of Nigeria, especially from the government, I don't think anything that we are complaining of that is wrong can stop. Because by looking at them, they are not ready to change.
Okay, we have to wrap up now.
Yes.
Because we have another guest for another segment. Final word from you, looking at what is has been prescribed by this bill. Do you think it's going to pass the second reading?
A pass second reading or no pass second reading is of no use, because the people who are proposing the bill, they are not serious people and they are not ready to abide by what the
Some people will disagree with you to saying that they are serious people and they mean business. But we want to thank you for coming.
Why is the law? Why is the country bill like this? Because they are not respecting the law.
I want to thank John Okuyomo, advocate for equity, justice, and fairness. Thank you for coming. We're going to invite you someday. Well, we'll go on this break now, and when we come back, we want to look at analyzing the educational sector in Nigeria. We will be back soon. Welcome back. Well, we want to look at education, analyzing educational sector in Nigeria. It's very critical because education is a bedrock of development for any society. And the importance of education cannot be overemphasized. We need to begin to look at it. We need to begin to look at the standard. And so today we want to look at it critically, looking at where we are falling. We have a guest in the studio, Olu Adenikpekun. He's the head of National Office, WAEC Nigeria. Good morning to you.
Yeah, good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, please. Thank you.
We want to look at education and how can we raise the standard of education. But before then, tell us, what do you think about our educational standard in this country?
Well, thank you so much, lady. Education, like you have said, is the bedrock of development in any nation. And education itself is a very serious business. There have been quite a lot of expansion in the education sector in Nigeria when we compare with what used to be some 25, 30 years ago. The number of students have kept increasing, just as the population in Nigeria has also been increasing. So in that light, if we compare with what is happening now, we compare it to what happened 25 years, 30 years ago, we will say that we are on a positive note.
Okay, so it's better than what it used to be. Is that what you're saying?
Well, yes, in terms of the expansion, in terms of accessibility, in terms of content, yes, we're getting better. That is my own assessment. And I never subscribe to the school of thought that will say that education is falling. No, not at all. I think the standard of education in Nigeria is improving.
And you said education is a very serious business.
It's a serious business.
Okay, when going into education to start a school or an institution or the likes, what should you look at? The first thing you look at, is it the business or the love, or what's the first thing a school owner or a stakeholder should think about when going into education?
Well, thank you. You see, when I say education is a serious business, not only in terms of making money, but in terms of contributing to the continuance and sustenance of a nation. You see, education determines what a country will look like in 10 years, in 20 years' time. And so anybody who wants to be a stakeholder or a participant in that sector must see it as a serious business. Not only a serious business of making naira and kobo, but serious business of contributing to the national development. And so if we are now looking at it from the point of view of ownership of schools or establishment of schools, you will see that, and that still go back to what I said now, that there have been a lot of expansion in that sector. In the days gone by, it used to be missionaries or mission school that we had, and then government also stepped into it, and later you have individuals now that are playing very active role in setting up schools at all levels of the education sector in Nigeria, education strata in Nigeria, be it primary, be it secondary, be it tertiary. You see that we have so many players now. You have government playing their own role, you have individual playing their own role, and you have missions also playing their own role. So it's a joint venture that it should involve everybody. But any one person that finds himself going to be a player, minor or major, in the education sector should see it as a serious business.
Okay, I don't want us to look at just education alone or the sector. I want us to begin to break it down. We want to look at government-owned schools.
Yeah.
Before now, the missionaries came in, and it was said that they have a standard. Yeah. But when we took the missionaries' schools away, now people begin to see that the standard is deteriorating. And now you hear this morning, coming this morning to say that the standards are gone high. Are you talking about government-owned schools, or you're talking about the private-owned schools?
Well, I'm talking,
so we begin to look at what angle are you looking at it from?
I'm talking about education in totality. I'm not looking at the standard of education sectorally. But if you are looking at it from the point of view of mission schools or private-owned schools or government schools, you must still define it. And the sum total are still showing that there are a lot of improvement as far as education is concerned, and so the standard cannot be falling. When you look at the public schools, government-owned schools, for instance, you will see that is where you are likely to have the largest sector of the population sending their children to. Okay, and so you are likely to have many more children in that sector, and government is also, from time to time, trying to improve on the physical facilities, trying to have a teacher that are qualified to be in schools, and providing so many other support. But at any point in time, there is no society that will leave public schools into the hands of the government alone. You see, to continue to sustain the development, even in a public school, the government must be ready to play their own part. The society must also be ready to play their own part, to play the supportive role that is necessary so that we can have what we call a continual development in that sector. Also, if it is a privately owned school, the private sector will have their own play. But the government must still play a part to set certain standards and to ensure that those standards set are maintained, not minding who owns the school. And the same thing goes for the mission school as well. So it's a totality. Be it a publicly owned school, be it a privately owned school, the government must play a part, the society must play a part, the owners of the school must also play an active part. And so this is the only way by which we can actually sustain the development we are talking about.
So you saying that the standard is not falling, as a matter of fact, it's going higher and higher. There are schools about everywhere. There are places like in local, what I mean by local areas, I mean in places where the rich men are not concentrated. There are places where you see one very small kiosk or thereabouts, they turn it into a school, call it a school, and you see students, pupils trooping in without, should I say, there is no government checking and all. What you have to say about, because there you can say they have not met the standard of education set by the government. What you have to say about the regulation of these schools? Is there a monthly or a yearly check round the city to check up the standard and how the schools are being run?
You see, for a school to be called, there are three major things that must be fulfilled. For a school to be a school, there must be structures, physical structure that we see, the classrooms and so many other things that form a school. There must be teachers and there must be students. These are the three major things that makes a school a school. Now, who sets the standard as to what should be the structure? That is where the government comes in. That is where the Ministry of Education comes in. That is where, in the Ministry of Education, that's where you have various sectors, various departments, that it is their own duty to ensure that all these things are put in place. So the quality of the teachers also determine the quality of the school. And then, well, of course, the location of the school determines the type of student you have there. You see, because after all, you expect that if a school is set up in a rural environment, it is the children from that place that will go to the school. But I grew up from a rural environment, and I went to a public school throughout my life, and I still came out fine. So what we are saying is that it is not just where a school is located that matters. In the WAEC Excellence Award that we do give to very good students, those who came out top, we've had them coming out from even very rural schools located in remote places of the country, and they still come out fine. So it is not the location.
Okay, I want to take you on the budget. If you look at the budget, you could see that what was allocated in this year's budget is about 6% to education. That's about 448.1 billion for education. Is that enough?
I've had so many reasons, at many occasions to comment on this. When we say budget, you're talking about the federal government budget. That is all. Okay? But have we taken a look at the quantum of what each of the state government budget for education every year? Have we been thinking about how much the private sector budget are spent on education?
No, I don't want us to go to the...
By the time we do a total summation, you will find out that education sector is really getting quite good funding.
I want to allow you to speak. Maybe I should get it clearer.
Okay.
Because you've just talked about the state budget, and we all know that even states to pay salaries, it's a bit difficult. So you can just imagine what is going to come out of the budget for education. Yes. But we want to look at the federal government, because we're looking at the budget, the whole sum budget of about 7.30%, let's say trillion. Yeah. And 6% is given to education. The question I'm asking now, I don't want us to look at the private sector giving towards education. I don't want to look at the state, because state has their own issues. We want us to look at the federal government. Yes. Do you think this money that has been earmarked, that has been allocated to education, do you think is enough?
Well, surely it's not enough because there is a standard that is set worldwide that at least for education, the central government or the government in the nation should probably have a budget of about 25%
yes.
or so of the budget, devoted to education. But, well, we have our own challenges in this country. And so the government has to allocate the little resources available. And so we can say, we can agree that yes, to have as low as below 10% definitely is not enough. We hope that government will continue to improve on this.
Okay, so these allocations, these funds that have been allocated to the educational sector.
Yes.
When you look, you have an overview. You run through the overview of the schools that are in the country. Would you say that these funds are really spent on the educational sector? What's your take on, yes, we give you money, let me just put it plain, we give you 100 naira to spend on SuperDawn project.
Yes.
When you look at the project, does it really work? Does it look 100 naira?
Well, I may not be in position to be able to speak categorically on that, but when money is allocated to a sector, the expectation is that budgetary allocation must be or should be backed up with cash. And until that is done, then you can go forward to say, oh, this is what has been implemented. I mean, this is what has been carried out. My own observation is that, well, in Nigeria, when money is allocated, it does not mean that at the end of the year, you will have had 100% cash backing. But let us imagine that we have a 6% allocation, and we are able to have that total 6% of the budgetary allocation given to education, and you have that backed up with cash. And you have good intention, you have people who are ready to actually implement, it will make a lot of difference. And what we are seeing now today is that difference is also coming up. That is just it. Well, I'm not comfortable with 6% allocation to education. I hope, I pray, I look forward to a day a government in Nigeria will be able to actually allocate up to 20% of the federal budget to education.
I know you work for government, and so I know that when we're discussing, you might want to just take side of where you work, but we want to look at it without being biased this morning. Looking at you, when we started this discussion, you said, hey, Nigerian education is okay. You gave us that impression that, hey, it's okay, it's not the standard hasn't fallen. But a lot of people will tell you, we say no, you kind of graduate with chunk out these days. When you do interviews with them, you notice that something is just wrong somewhere. It's not just it. And as a media practitioner, we've gone round to see some of the sites schools where these people learn. And you wonder, and they, just like the Southwest, early this year, they said they cannot continue in teaching. And we want to look at, they said they cannot continue, their salary is not coming as at when due, it's not enough. And they are complaining. And these are the people that are supposed to drive the economy if you invest in education. So what do you think the government need to do now?
You see, first of all, let me correct an impression. I didn't say that we are comfortable, we are okay as far as educational development in the country is concerned. But what I said is that
the standard is not
low, that I don't belong to the school that I say the standard is falling. We have had a lot of expansion in the education sector, and so many players come into the education sector. So even if you are looking at the universities, for instance, if the federal universities are on strike, that does not mean that the private university will be on strike.
Well, we're not looking at private university. You know how much people pay for private schools?
We're talking about
and we know what the country economy is saying now. Most people cannot afford private schools.
When we talk about education, we are talking about education of Nigeria. So we are not saying that the federal government schools, those who are coming out of federal government schools. No, we're talking about education generally in this country. And I identified right from the beginning that when you're talking about education in a country like Nigeria, you have many players, missions, individuals or private, and public, that is government. And so it is actually the totality of their actions that actually contribute and their impact on the standard of the education. And so today also, we still find people will say that federal universities are still far better than the private sector, privately owned university. We still have a university that will do that. So, but the sum total of it is that there will be a lot of improvement, there will be a lot of expansion in education, and I don't believe that standard of education. And when you see what is happening outside the country, you see Nigerians going outside after their first degree here, going to the US, going to the UK, going to other universities across the world, and they are coming up tops. So if it is so bad, they can't go there. And
how many of us can afford to take our children outside the country?
At least for those,
we need to be able to take.
At least for those that have had that opportunity, what we have seen, what we have gotten, is that Nigerians are winning prizes.
Because Nigerians are brilliant.
And many of them aren't really necessarily coming from a rich family. There are some of them that also got scholarship, and they find themselves going out, and they are performing very, very well. Very, very well for that matter. And
okay.
Of course, I also work across the West African sub-region, and I interacted with other Nigerians across Africa and the world. And I found out that Nigerians are doing great. And you continue to find out. You see, these people are saying at home that, oh, these are not good. But when they come out, you see them performing.
Yes, Nigerians are, we have brilliant students.
What you don't have, you cannot give. What you don't have, you can't give it. So we are saying that our children are doing well.
They are doing well. I'm not saying they are not doing well. So we are looking at, maybe you should, you need to get me right.
Let's get that doing well from.
No, we need to get it right. Nigerians are very brilliant people. You can't take that away from us. Okay. But we are looking at the standard. Why do people go outside the country? Why even lecturers are no more interested in teaching in our state schools? Have you asked yourself that? Because that is where the challenge is. Most lecturers want to go outside the country. I know some lecturers, I know some lecturers, professors that have gone outside this country to teach outside the country. How can we make this place better for lecturers to be here, teach our students, and that standard continue? But before you continue, there's a caller. Hello, good morning to you. Good morning. Okay, thank you for your contribution. Yes, Anthony, you wanted to ask a question.
Okay, we have been to symposiums, we have been to conferences, we've covered conferences, this station, Super Screen, educational sector conferences, and the speakers, in most cases, they will tell you, oh, that Nigerians, when we are graduates, complain that we don't get jobs, we go for interviews, we don't get jobs, and these company owners tell you that we have graduates, but they are not employable. And this now boils back to the schooling. Most times, even when you get the job, they have to train you for about 6 months and the rest of them. What do you think that the schools, the educational sector should be doing? Like one thing that that has been inculcated into the curriculum of the secondary school is entrepreneurship, skills and acquisition. Yes. What should be improved on in the university that will make a graduate just, apply for a job and get
employable to service the economy
yes.
in this area? You see, the matter is a very simple thing. The industry that will come out to say, oh, the graduates that are being churned out are not employable. We should ask them a question. In all nations, advanced nations of the world, you will see industries playing active role on what takes place in the universities. You have industries, you have factories, you have companies, institutions, chairs in the university, and they sponsor professors, they sponsor researchers for their own use, so that when
the community.
Yes, to help the community, to help the nation, to help the company.
Yes.
So it is not just for the industries, for the private sector to just stay back and be hoping that the university on their own alone will be able to respond to the needs of the society. You see, it has to be a joint private partnership. Yes, it has to be a joint venture between this university owned either by the government, either by the state, either by the mission, either by individual, and the private sector, the economy, so that we'll be able to work together and say, okay, for me, this is what I need, and I'm ready to support this department, to train individuals in this area. And when they are coming out to work for us. That's what is happening.
Okay, are you saying that maybe they don't know that they need to help? Maybe no, because I don't understand why. Some people, you said you went to a state school, a public school.
Oh yes.
You're a product of a private school.
Public schools.
And so coming out, naturally you expect to help the society.
Of course.
You're talking about industries that are supposed to be a player in it as well.
Yeah.
Why Nigerians not interested? Is it that they are not interested in helping education, or something is just wrong somewhere?
Is it like I have said? There have been before now. There have been this thinking, this attitude of people to say that education it belongs to government. This school is a community school, but it is owned by government. So it's what happened there is none of my business. To get them to even attend PTA where they have their children could be a problem. You see, but then people are now getting to know that it is their also duty to show interest in what happens in their communities. To show interest in what happens. You now have people who have retired, who now go back to their community without taking a kobo. They go to schools and contribute. You now have individuals. I know of individuals in the state that we gather children of a school age together and give them extra lessons over the weekends. Spending his own money for that to happen. And so that is the way, and that's the way to develop a nation, not just waiting to say government is not doing it or government is doing it. It must be a joint venture. It is good. It is easy to sit down and just criticize or to say this person is speaking for government. But let us imagine you must spend what you have. You spend what you have.
Let me come into this.
Yes.
We understand that youths are being driven by the pop culture and even in the universities.
Yes.
And there are situations, there are cases where brands, private sector, they give money as a prize, sort of, in competitions. We're talking, e.g., the BBA.
Yeah.
There are situations where competitions come out, and this brand.
That's Big Brother Nigeria, you mean?
Yes.
Okay.
And they sponsor. The winner takes 15 million,
yes.
25 million. For a dancing competition.
That is true.
And the education sector, we have the Einstein gets maybe 1 packet of milk or something.
That is true.
What do you have to say to that, and what's your advice to them?
We're still talking about the same thing. You see, everybody's still looking at education as a serious business. You see, I can attest to that. It happened to me. I have a son that finished from University College Hospital Ibadan. I think the second best graduate with about 9 prizes on the date of graduation. What was the prize money? Maybe 50, maybe some 50 naira, maybe some 100 naira. But I encouraged him and told him that it is not the money. You see, it is not.
We must wrap up now, but there's one question I want you to answer before we wrap up this edition. We're behind time. Why do we lower scores for what we call some disadvantaged school states? It's educationally disadvantaged states. Why do we lower scores for them?
That is for selective test. That is for test that is meant to select people into schools.
Yes.
Okay. If it is for selective test, we are talking about expansion. We are also talking about inclusiveness. Okay. Talking in the constitution, you talk about federal character. You want people from all sectors of the country to come together, to be represented, to be shown, the fact that we all belong to one nation. So this may be reason to say, okay, if we are going to admit, for instance, into a unity school, we're going to admit other people, and these other people, they want it to come from all the states of the federation, and they are so shared. Okay, so if in a state you have many people performing, scoring 80%, and in another state you have people performing down below 40%, yet they have to have people in that school. So the only thing that can happen is to say, okay, since it is on quota basis, okay, and it is only quota basis that will make it possible to do that.
Thank you for answering that, but I wanted you to just conclude by saying, if that is the case, when it comes to appointment into federal parastate house, do they consider that as well? Because the government will not consider that you enter school through a lower grade.
When you enter school,
we do that.
Yeah, when you enter school through what we consider as lower grade, it is expected that you will be given support, good support as you enter, so that you can also be built up to meet with the best, and it has happened all over the world.
Do you think it pays? But next time we're going to invite you to talk more on that. That is very important topic. We must treat why they gave some people grades and they reduce. They allow some people come in a lower grades in the same country of ours. I want to thank Olu Adenik Pekun, the head of national office, WAEC Lagos. Thank you for coming on this occasion.
Thank you so much.
I did enjoy your stay.
Thank
here.
you. Thank you. God bless. Thank you so much.
This is where we wrap up this segment. Up next is SuperDawn Sports, and guess what? Chelsea won. They'll talk more. They are here to talk more during this sports segment.